Hey, we're live. Hey, folks. Thanks for tuning into the BAMF podcast. I'm your host, Mike Lafferty. And in honor of today being a comic review, a DC Comics review session, I have grown out this facial hair so I can approximate what an older, pudgy Oliver Queen would look like in real life. So I hope you appreciate that. And with me today, I have Christopher McLaughlin. How you doing, Chris?
You totally remind me of my favorite con cosplay story with that intro.
What's that?
I was in line to get Mark Waid's autograph at Baltimore Comic Con, and in line behind me were two guys in like perfect Mirror Master and Captain Cold costumes, like total Silver Age, right down to like the goofy looking weapons. And I just I kept turning around going like, you guys are awesome, those are incredible. And they were getting a lot of photo requests. Like every 2 seconds somebody would come along and say, hey, can I get you two guys picture? Well, eventually somebody came along while I was talking to them, and they said, are you three guys together? And I'm standing there in like a Hawaiian shirt, cargo shorts, and flip-flops. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, does this person have like some vague memory of Barry Allen fighting like a guy in a Hawaiian shirt on a regular basis? Or is he just sit there thinking like, man, Weather Wizard has really gone to seed. He's really let himself go. But I resisted temptation, said, no, I'm not actually dressed as a Silver Age Flash villain at the moment.
Wasn't there a guy that used to hang around with the Flash with a Hawaiian shirt that used to eat things? He could eat anything.
Chunk.
Yes.
He wore various things. I don't know if he made a habit of and he was actually bigger than me. So yeah. He looked sort of like an off-model Fat Albert. So right.
Yeah. I could vaguely remember like a Hawaiian shirt or a colorful shirt. Yeah, that's the guy. That's the guy.
William from the William Messner Loebs era. Oh, jeez.
It sounds like he's actually been in the TV show.
Really?
Yeah, I'm looking at the Flash Wiki now, and they have a picture of a skinny dude.
Of course, because that makes perfect sense for a guy called Chunk to be skinny.
Yeah, they don't have fat people on TV anymore. So, hey, but moving right along, we're talking about comics today, Comics Kids, and I'm sharing my screen. You can see the whole title of this book is Dark Knights, Death Metal, Legend of the Dark Knights. Okay, we all got that? And for writers, holy shit, Snyder, Tinian, Williamson, Tomasi, Bennett, Terry, Johnson, Ennis, Daniel Rasma. Okay, I can keep going. There's a lot of good writers on here. So, Chris, you've been reading this one. Tell me about it.
Well, I sort of blundered into this one. I got the Scott Snyder, James Tinian Justice League recommended to me, and I gave it a shot, and it was just so good. It's the best regular comic series I've read in ages. I mean, it was such. I mean, my personal favorite thing about the DC universe is when somebody weaves together the various threads of the lore and that is built up. You know, if you've got a story that's like, hey, I wonder if there are other colors of lanterns other than green, you have my immediate attention. And that run on Justice League was incredible. I mean, it's shout outs to like the 70s Super Friends show, you know, Crisis on Infinite Earths, you know, and it's the lineup of the team. I think everybody it's the lineup of the team I think everybody at this point knows the best. It's basically taken from the early '80s Justice League cartoon that was on Cartoon Network from Bruce Timm and those great people. And they masterfully, over like 50 or 60 issues, built up this steadily growing crisis about the goddess that created the previous universe, Perpetua, coming back, ready to smash our existence and rebuild a universe more to her liking. And she did so with the help of a leftover character from the previous crossover, the Batman Who Laughs, because the previous crossover was all about what happens to your nightmares. They tied it into Neil Gaiman's Sandman and all that. You know and more particularly, what happens to Batman's nightmares? Turns out Batman has nightmares about getting powers and killing all the other heroes. So basically, they fought off this army of like all these nightmare Batman. What if Batman killed the Flash and took his powers? And the Batman Who Laughs is the only one. It was the boss of them all. It was the Batman who became the Joker. So now he's back teamed up with Perpetua, and they've basically wiped out a good chunk of the heroes. They've either killed or captured them. They've taken over Earth and turned it into this twisted nightmare, governed by like all these other evil Batman. I think my favorite of them is the Batman who had to upload, who got caught in a cave-in at the Batcave and had to upload his consciousness into the robot Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Oh yeah,
and he's now he's now known as B-Rex.
Mm-hmm.
So the current big crossover miniseries Death Metal is all about, how did the surviving heroes beat Perpetua and the Batman Who Laughs and restore the old DC universe. And I'm hooked on it because, like I said, I enjoyed the predecessor, the previous miniseries. I enjoyed the Justice League series that set the whole thing up. And if you know the current backstage stuff happening at DC, the fact they've gutted their comic division, they're down to like 17 actual comics and probably won't be publishing that many in a year's time. And honestly, you have to count like stuff like Scooby-Doo to get to 17. I'm kind of thinking this may be the last time we see something like this. The big, across the line crossover with, all of creation at stake. And, this will probably end with the continuity being rebooted. It kind of feels like this is the last time that this is ever going to happen. It's like reading every issue feels like that scene in The Wild Bunch where the gang rides off to confront the Mexican warlord, and they know this is it. This is it for them. This is how they're going to go out. This is their big last glorious stab at things. So I'm kind of in for this just because I don't know if I'll ever get another chance to see something like this happen with DC. At least not for a long, long time. And the actual reading experience on it, it's. I'm going to have to reserve judgment on how the whole thing comes out, because it's really, it's one of the oddest books I've ever read. You've got this situation where like where like Earth has been ravaged and remade by a madman, and like all the dialogue is like this really quippy, jokey Marvel movie type stuff. Now, admittedly, a lot of it's funny as hell. But it just, it seems flippant given what's going on. The art design is at times it's stuff like, Rob Liefeld might look at it and go like, dude, that's too 90s. It's like all the characters have been reinvented as like their ultimate 90s selves. So visually, it's a bit of a jar, And
can I ask you a quick question?
Sure, please go right ahead.
You see this page I'm looking at right here?
Yes.
Is this Bruce Wayne as Dr. Manhattan?
That's Superman, isn't it?
That's Batman Hatton.
Oh, it's Batman.
Yeah. You see, the main superpower of the Batman Who Laughs is he sees all these other nightmare realities. That's how he plucks all these other evil Batman. And he saw a reality where that terrible crossover they did where Bruce Wayne got a hold of the comedian's button. Mm-hmm. And, well, in one universe, he was able to reverse engineer the device that created Dr. Manhattan. And the Batman Who Laughs triggered it, and it created it. Basically, it turned Bruce Wayne into Dr. Manhattan. Yes. Okay. Batman Hatton. So yeah, I mean, it just seems, I mean, there's stuff like that what is that line from Spinal Tap? There's such a thin line between genius and stupid. And and it just seems like everything in death metal just kind of straddles that line. It's imaginative enough and funny enough to where I'm in for the duration. Like I said, I'll probably never get a chance to ever do this again, the way things are looking at DC. But I'm just wondering where this is all going to go. It will wind up somewhere on that line between genius and stupid, because it's just so over the top and crazy. Death metal is a great name for it, because it's loud, it's in your face, it's exaggerated. Yeah, I think maybe the definitive moment, and since this is issue 1, I don't think it's going to spoil it for anybody. One of the big plot points in issue 1 is that Wonder Woman, our beloved Wonder Woman that we know, Diana, in order to save the remaining Earth population, agrees to be the prison keeper for the Batman Who Laughs after he takes over Earth. And one thing that he's upset about is he wants to know what she did with her invisible jet, because that's one of the few things that's capable of like screening out from his powers. And he keeps telling her, I know you're turning that into a suit of armor so that you can sneak up on me and kill me. And then when they have their final face-to-face conversation, you find out that Diana hasn't built a suit of armor. She's turned it into the chainsaw of truth. And she grinds up the Batman Who Laughs into like little like Omaha steaks. So that's kind of my like my entry moment for that. You know, if you're willing to go, whoa, turn the invisible jet into a chainsaw, if you can swallow that, it may be your jam. But if every word of chainsaw of truth makes your hurt you in your fanboy britches, maybe best to give this one a miss and just think, well, at least Marvel will still be around.
I have questions, but I don't know where to start. Aid, what are your thoughts?
See, I got Metal. I literally got every single crossover issue of Metal, and ultimately it came to nothing apart from introducing the Joker, the Batman Who Laughs. That's it. It just and Plastic Man came back. That was like the biggest thing about Metal. Plastic Man, yeah, fantastic. Okay, and then all the crossovers, all those Super Batman they introduced. Now they just disappeared. The one that actually sold, he's everywhere now. This is quite cool. At least they're kind of going back to stuff in Rebirth with Dr. Manhattan, all this kind of stuff. So they are kind of tying it into one big thing. But the impression, obviously, originally was that this was going to be a step into the 5G complete reboot. Everyone was going to age up. It was going to be a reset. Now that's probably not going to happen. Where's it going to go? It's like you say, and again, too many crossovers, too many issues. If it had been the 6-issue miniseries, that's it, like Secret Wars was, and then you can just read those core books, that's fine. But as soon as they start bringing 3 or 4 different crossovers all the while, no, done with it. So I never read it. I think I get the impression, as you were saying, Chris, that what's going to happen to it? Where's this ultimately going to end up? It's either going to end up with a big fat reset button and nothing's going to change, or it's going to do something impressive. I think it's going to be the first one. I think it's just going to go, thanks, because they're already tallying the next crossover, which is the Eternal Winter thing, which is going to be popping up. So it's like, okay, whatever. So yeah, not that problem.
Well, hey, let's take a look at the book Aid wanted to talk about, and I've got to say, I was telling Chris before the show started how I always feel like I'm being forced to watch a Saw movie whenever I read Jeff Johns, and had that feeling very strongly.
This is Black Label though, so this is okay. You can get away with this one. This has got something, but again, there's not a lot in this apart from a few gunshots that is dramatically. I mean, thinking back to the kid in the 52 count issues who got hit by the giant crocodile chap. This is nothing. This is nothing in this. So. Oh
yeah, I forgot about Sobek eating that guy.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that was 12 years ago. That was a long time.
Yes,
yeah.
Don't think about
it. I thought we might have seen some of those characters from 52 again by now. Like I thought we were going to see Super Chief. I mean, Grant Morrison just created. Anyway, sorry, Batman the Three Jokers.
They did a review I saw of the Grant Morrison Batman issues, and they had all of the kind of the Secret Society of Batman. It's like, where did all them characters go? They were so cool, and they just got swept aside, all gone. It's like, such a shame. But
yeah.
This.
All right, so Smash is open.
This is good. Now, as the core Batman titles, people are telling me that have actually read them. Oh, it's really good at the moment. The Joker War stuff's really good. I absolutely at the moment could not give a crap. It got to the game, same problem. The 5G thing was coming along. They were going to get rid of Bruce, issue 100. Mate, he's can't remember the guy's name now. The guy was writing it originally. Was going to do the big fat 100-issue storyline. It got cut out at issue 75 and kind of it all wrapped up. And you go, oh right, was that it then? So the core Batman books just seem to be plunging along, and every time they tried to pull out a big sales booster. Oh, it's the Joker's back. Oh, Harley Quinn's in it as well. And the Joker's got a new girlfriend. And she's gonna be really popular on eBay. So maybe to stack up on all those books and make sure they're $50 books by the time your next one's out. So cool Batman book. By the time issue 100 rolls around, I may be dropping it. After 28 years of buying Batman, if it doesn't pick up, done. This though is bloody genius, right? This is a spiritual successor to The Killing Joke, if not by the absolute gorgeous artwork in it by Faybook, which is so reminiscent of Bolland's stuff in The Killing Joke. The 9-panel grid layouts, it is absolutely fantastic. And again, it's one of those books that is kind of a kind of a love letter to Batman lore. There's lots of references to stuff you've seen in the past, kind of little nods here and there, and it feels like someone's thought about it rather than just kind of going, oh well, just chuck the Joker in there, he can run around for 15 issues and do stuff, and then at the end of it go, what happened? This is fantastic. This is really, really good. There's not a lot in it at this first issue to actually answer anything about the potential 3 Jokers that was again brought up at the beginning of Rebirth. But apparently they do exist. There is a meeting between all 3 Jokers. They are there. This is not just some figment or just some kind of thing. There's 3 versions of the Joker, each one slightly different down kind of like the era timeline in appearance. And apparently each one thinks the other one's the boss, and they kind of got this plot going on. And the plot at the moment seems to be they are going to try and pull some major heists by killing lots of people across Gotham. So and no quite exactly firm what's happening, but it hopefully again it will pull those story threads that were introduced in Rebirth to some kind of conclusion and figure out what the hell's going on. But it's fantastic. It reads well. It looks absolutely gorgeous. I'm really looking forward to the next one. I'm absolutely astounded. It's only 3 issues because I thought this was going to be at least a 6 or a 12, but it's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Okay, cool.
I don't want to say too much about it because it's so good I don't want to ruin it. So
should I
the end is
stop?
astounding of the first issue, and you go, there's some really good characterization between Red Hood and Barbara Gordon, where they basically kind of just complain against each other about how they handle the Joker. There's a kind of like some stuff alluding to there that the Red Hood didn't actually die when he was killed by the Joker way back in the Death in the Family. It was actually just brought to the edge of death and then buried so that the Joker could torment him even more by kind of being the guy that could have killed him. Whereas obviously in the Final Crisis or the Superboy stuff, it was Superboy punching down the walls of reality that brought him back. So it's getting kind of tempted. But there you go, Endless Winter. There you go. That's the next crossover. We already advertised Endless Winter for December. So where? But yeah, it's really, really good book. Absolutely fantastic.
So it's just a one shot though, right? There's not going to be any more.
No, it's 3 issues.
Oh, okay.
3 issue Black Label miniseries, prestige format. It's I mean the cover's astounding. There's 3 covers for each issue. It's just so nice. Such a good book. I was pretty cynical about it, but after reading it, I thought it's the best thing I've read probably this month, easily. Apart from possibly Immortal Hulk, because Immortal Hulk is absolutely fantastic. But yeah, well worth it.
Cool. All right. Well, hey, in trying to set a tradition here today, starting of doing short little capsule reviews, and we've covered these 2 books, and I think we're going to wrap things up right there. Chris and Abe, thanks for coming out. Always a pleasure talking to you guys. And
it was a great chance to talk to you guys.
Yep. And to all of our listeners and viewers, we'll catch you next time on the BAMF Podcast.